everybody. I hope you're doing well. I hope you're all having a good weekend so far. I just wanted to jump in and do our sort of weekly recap for everything that we entered over the week. It was a great week for us in the group. We managed to secure, I think it was 830 pips off the top of my head, with a total of 10 trades that went out, and we had no stop losses hit. So I was super happy about the week of trading. We did have one stop loss, but that was from a trade that we held last week. So all the fresh trades that went out this week, pretty much 100% record on all those trades. So super exciting about that. Obviously, with the last 2 weeks, we've had some pretty rough trading. As you can see, a lot of pairs are kind of still ranging, but they are starting to break out and make moves across. We were quite fortunate enough to catch some really good moves across GB. We managed to catch some good moves against JPY. Silver's doing the business. So everything's kind of moving in our favor. So we have taken profits, or I've taken profits. Majority partial profits on all of these trades. I do have runners going on every single one of these trades except for GBPJPY. My runners got stopped on that, unfortunately. So that is the only trade out of all the 10 that we don't have running profits still. So yeah, as I said, I'm holding about 16% for the week. So, fantastic stuff. Pretty excited about that. Hopefully you guys did manage to catch everything, like I said. But going through the sort of recap for this week, I just want to break down where we're at with the trades, what we're looking at for potentially next week. Again, remember, this is completely separate to our overview videos. The videos which I'll post on the overview tomorrow night will be covering everything I'm looking forward to next week. And we may still have a look at some of these trades as well, because I do think the potential is still there for a bigger rundown on a lot of them. Okay, so if we just crack on straight away and we just look straight at AU right here. So Aussie USD, we entered one sell trade earlier on in the week, which I closed out of purely because what I was looking for was, we sold it up here as soon as, let me just zoom in on this candle formation here. So this was the candlestick that I sold it on initially, was this sort of long shadow here, long upper shadow here. Sold it off that purely because we could see that there was a sort of a bias shift in this candle formation here for a potential leg down. I've got a couple of videos coming out on IGs covering short, quick candlestick formations. And like everything, when you confluence all these little elements of trading together, that's when they kind of carry a bit more weight. So what we can see here, we did see a little bit of selling bias kick in here. And then we held this coming down here. Once we came back up here, once it broke back above this level here and closed above again, that's when I initially closed the trade. However, we got back in the trade midweek once we saw this sort of short-term trend line break here. And although it's not necessarily a double top, you can see the buyers have struggled to break this level here. More importantly, the psychological 0.7 level, which also lines up with the 79 Fibonacci from this high to this low. Buyers have been unable to basically take this level off the sellers. So there is still quite a bit of downward pressure, potentially holding AU down. I think if it does go to stops, it will be more a case of USD weakness as opposed to Aussie strength. Obviously, USD has been a bit all over the shop at the moment. We can see that with if we look at the DXY, if we look at any of that, then we can see that the dollar's kind of been ranging a little bit between highs and lows. But it could carry strength. Any sort of risk on event, we're going to be looking for some dollar strength, and I think that's what it's waiting for. It doesn't necessarily mean long-term strength. I do think that, obviously, I said this in the last video I posted in the midweek for the group. I think the dollar will devaluate over time. Obviously, there's a lot of sort of economic factors and fundamental factors behind that, not necessarily only technical levels. But yeah, back in this trade here again, we're holding, I think it was just 10 pips of profit at the moment. So moving into next week, we kept this trade open, didn't see any reason to shut it. Again, we're looking for a break and then break down from this trend line structure here. It'll probably take us to about here. But long-term targets, like I always said, we're just looking for a retest of this daily support level here, which we haven't had yet after breaking out above it. So I'm going to hold this bad boy. Hopefully we see some continuation into next week. Obviously, AUD is overcooked, as I said. So let's see how that moves on from next week. But I was happy to hold that one moving into the week. Aussie Kiwi. This trade's finally starting to make moves. Was sent out last week, so we're still holding this. It's been a slow burner. I highlighted in the midweek overview that the area I was worried about was this level of support here, which you can see. If I just it's kind of held, it's acted as resistance, support, resistance here. Is a slightly larger zone. If we zoom it down, obviously to about there, we can see, or even bring it back, you can see it's just acting as a semi-resistance here, but it has been acting as a support for the pair throughout this sort of range in between these levels. But you can see now, have we pierced that level? Yes, we technically have. What I'm more looking for was a break of this low here. So the fact that we have now broken below this low, which I'll just highlight here, that shows to us we can see a clear high, low, lower high, lower low. So we are moving into a bearish correction on this structure. So I'm hoping for at least get down to about here. We can tap out 188 pips, or we can just hold that target down to the end goal, which is that level of support down here, which you can see as well. We've acted as support throughout here. Obviously, this is our resistance area here, which is where I would say we probably look to take some profits. You can see how these Fibonacci levels are acting and lining up. So that means we're on the right track here. So we have a little bit of a range between support and resistance here. So should we find the pair come down, sort of retest this level and start looking a bit bullish, you know what, let's take most of our profits off the table and leave a runner. In the end, this is the difference between this and this is 70 pips. But the difference between this and where we're at, that's 190. So I always got to, remind myself sometimes when I'm looking at a trade, I'm thinking, should I close out? It's like if you're looking at it at a race, if you've run 70% of the race and you think, you know what, I'm tired, it's not going to make 100%, take the profits, take the partials, because at the end of the day, you want the 70 pips over losing the 70 pips for the sake of only 30 pips, if you know what I mean. If we're looking at it at like 100% as 100 pips and so on and so forth. So always keep that in factor. Like, is the extra 30 pips worth the trade? If you're happy with the profits, take the profits. But I do think that this will be my main level of profit taking for this pair down here. You can see it was the start of this trend line structure here, and like I said, acting resistance on the pair from here as well, which was kind of acting as from the start of February through till start of March. We did find resistance and range in this range. So that's Aussie New Zealand. As I said, holding that bad boy. Other trade, EURAUD. So we're still in this. Initially, we had one buy which got stopped at break even, but I'm still trading these breakouts here. We do have this huge trendline structure breakout here coming into play, and then we also have this sort of shorter term trendline structure here. This is a line of support and resistance we need to beat. Looking at the hourly, you can see that we have broken above this level now, and we have closed above it on a daily close. So if we're looking at the daily here, let me just get my chart. I always say this. You can see we have a nice engulfing here. We have technically closed above this level on a smaller time frame. So I'm hoping we do get some continuation onwards here. We might find the sort of channel being formed through just like this formation here. Put that there. As long as this trendline structure holds, we see some bounces up to about this level here, the 1.631. And then we may see a little bit of range as we've seen prior here. But I'm still holding that one. Like I said, looking for some AUD weakness. If we draw our Fibonacci's from last swing low to last swing high, you can see we've come off from this low, formed this high, and our fib levels are holding for a extension. So again, let's just pull that target down a little bit, line it up with the full swing. So the -1 is our full swing of this leg here, which is obviously a long-term target. Now, if we draw our sort of area here, you can see this pair's found resistance in the zone a number of times. So long term, that's a good target. I'm pretty happy with that. It's going to be a burner, obviously, but looking back at the 4 hour, hopefully by the end of next week, that will hit take profit, which will be a nice 157. The risk reward 2.6. But again, we could see it reach up here. As you can see on the 4 hour volume, we have had multiple touch points along this level of resistance as well. It also is our 50 retracement of this leg here to this leg here. So we're still trading within this range of this high to this low on 4 hour volume. So I do expect that we're going to get a little retest of this 50 Fibonacci level, just to maybe grab some liquidity and make a decision from there where it's looking to go. So that one's still running, 40 pips in profit. It did reach up to 70, but I'm not going to cap out on that. If I've got this objective, I'm going to wait till I at least get to at least 100 pips on that, if not more. This level here, the 0.27, that is where I just gonna start to take a little bit of profits. But I think it looks good. Let's hold this. We are holding this one. EURGBP, again, we're still holding this one. I took a little bit of partial profits here, just at 50 fib, just at the 50 pip mark. But you can see we are consolidating down here. We'll probably break out. We're looking at the 1 hour, still carving lower lows and lower highs coming into this. So I'm hoping we find find some resistance along this trend line, and then we touch down and find some support and some liquidity down here. Like I said, because we have cleared partials, one thing that we may consider is if we see a break of this trend line structure here, then we could expect it to maybe come up and retest up here. So our stops are break even on this one. So whatever happens, we've cleared some profits, but hopefully, this will be our third touch on the trend line, and then one more leg down before we do find that liquidity and break out. But let's see. We're still holding that one. Great entrance again. What we're looking for, it's almost like a little head and shoulders. A lot of people calling head and shoulders on that for sure. I can see that. We have the sort of left shoulder here, head here, and right shoulder here. We also have a trend line break of structure here from this low up to here. So there's a lot of sort of bearish pressure coming into play here. Now, if we want to look at a measured objective for our head and shoulders, we have 178 pips. So if we break out from neckline here, 178 pips, we'll come roughly to there. Now, if we draw a Fibonacci from our head to down here, we can see that this price extension of this, not only this head, which would be our measured objective, but if we're using this Fibonacci, as you can see, we had a bounce on the 0.38 level here. Then this does actually bring us down to about our swing. So one way we could look at it is we could even look at an extension of target there for 167 pips. But I'm going to play it safe, and I'm just going to take my profits here on this Fibonacci retracement as well. So happy with that trade. Keeps rocking. We're still holding this one. Like I said, I did clear a little bit of partial profits here, but hopefully it keeps going. GB has been pretty powerful, but obviously, we got looming Brexit, so who knows how it can go. So I've just been, whenever we're trading GB, whenever we're trading anything related to that, we're keeping our risk management kind of on point with that one. Swissy. So looking at pound Swissy, pretty straightforward trade. Obviously, we had an inverse head and shoulders forming here. We had that rejection here on the 38 Fibonacci level of this low to this high. We entered here, pretty pinpoint perfect trade. And the measured objective, of course, lining up with the swing of this Fibonacci yet again. So our long-term target here leading into this area is 1.20159 for 270 pips. We can see how this is acted as a bearish breaker here as well. Obviously acting as support here for the pair. We had this little head and shoulders formation again forming here. Breakdown, we came back up, we retested this level that we broke, and sellers kicked in and drove this pair all the way down to the ground. So we will be looking for an extension up here. However, as you can see, with this Fibonacci extension coming into play here, we can clearly see that there has been level of resistance in the past. So, coming into this area here, again, dragging it out, we can see it's found support, resistance, basically resistance, resistance, resistance. So it's been a quite strong level for GB Swissy. So profit levels, we could be looking to take majority of our profits off the table here for 200 pips. But we just have to keep that in mind when we're looking at where we should start taking profits. We may break out and find some support along this sort of top of this level here. obviously acting as support for this pair here. But we'll have to see how the week goes. So far, we cleared 110 pips off it. With the runners going, it really doesn't matter. We were risk-free on the trade, guys. So happy days on that one. Hopefully, we do get some more sort of bullish momentum with GB moving into next week before what I think may be a Brexit massacre, but we'll have to wait and see on that. GJ called the initial breakout of this H4 level here at the 134.5 level. And then we did catch 100 pips when we broke out here. We obviously traded, we didn't trade the breakout, we traded the retest, which is a really important thing when you're trading breakouts. It basically just makes sure that you're not trading a false break. False breaks happen all the time in the market. So quite clearly, if we had broken up here and then this level did not hold, we were looking for some downside here. But once we saw this 4-hour rejection forming, we entered here. Once we saw these levels on the 1 hour spiking, and we were quite fortunate to get an entry in very, very clear cut. Wait, let me just drag this. What the fuck's going on? Drag this here. We got this entry here. Moved up. It actually moved up to 127 pips. I cleared out at 100 pips, to be fair. I didn't catch these little wicks here. So I cleared out about here on this line here. Obviously, then we had a much deeper pullback than I would have liked. And unfortunately, our runners got stopped at break even. Could this be a head and shoulders formation forming? Potentially. We do have some risk on elements coming in. But we have had a lot of good news with the vaccines and everything as well. So it's going to be another sort of guess how it goes with the risk sentiment and just kind of catch it as we catch it. But that's one potential there. So again, we took 100 on that. I took 100 on that anyway. And then, cleared profits and then saved ourselves a little runner going. I was looking for targets just to retest this level here. If you see, it's the same sort of setup as GB Swissy in the fact that we have a key sort of support here. Again, once we broke down from the support, sellers kicked in on the retest of this broken block. And again, we drove all the way down to lows. So you can see we're slowly climbing up again to retest this level. So unfortunately, I don't have an entry on this anymore, purely because I don't see an entry. Should we come back to retest this level again down here, I'd be worried because I'd be looking at this sort of head and shoulders formation that could be forming. So I wouldn't be buying it again right now. I'm just going to take my profit on that and leave GJ to make its decision. Because again, like I said, there is potential there for some downside. But as long as we made a little bit of cash money on it, it's all good. GU, again, trading the breakout here, broke above highs here. Perfect retest. We got on this we were on the money on this. 1.53 was an important level just here, and you can see how it's acted. So we just do this little line here coming through this the top of this fib and this level of resistance. This was a key level. As soon as we broke above that, we started finding some support and rejections. Then we entered. We got a neat 140 pips on that. Only thing I'm worrying about here with GU is just this looks like a little bit of a double top. We can see the M formation forming, and we've had a bearish rejection. We've closed beneath this sort of this resistance level here, which we were looking to find some support, which we didn't get. So we cleared 140, but we could see GB start to lose a little bit of steam, and this might have been some people covering shorts. We know funds are net short on GB, but they do also hedge their shorts. Don't forget, once there's a bit of bullish pressure, they're able to buy on the hedge to make sure that they're covering their net shorts. So, we could definitely see, a move like that on this double top formation. What we need to basically keep an eye on is this level here. Should we come back down and break beneath this level, then I think, we're looking for a reversal on GB. Like I said, though, we've cleared 140 pips on that, and we've just got a little bit running on that. It's always best to play with GB, unless you're shorting it. If you're shorting it, then you hold that shit. Because if you catch the bearish run, it's happy days, money in the bank. So keep an eye on that, mark it up on your charts, and watch that level. But that could be a potential double top forming there. And, we've obviously seen GB Swissy is the only one where we're still seeing higher highs and higher highs and higher lows forming. So we're still very much in this structure. Only thing that might change this structure is if we take this trend line here, it will take a break of this trend line structure here, which will then potentially send GBPCHF back down to retest neckline. If we retest neckline, we break beneath neckline, then it lights out again, GB to the floor. But it doesn't matter because we made our profits on that so far. And what else did we trade? Let's have a look at the S&P. Going through the roof right there. Didn't trade that, just showed what I thought might happen. Didn't happen. So let's look at that in the overview next week. UCAD was a bit of a flop city for a little bit. We entered initially here. Once I saw this sort of buying pressure coming in off this support level, which is also still being held by this channel support coming into play on this channel. And then we came up, we got 70 pips into the trade. We broke back down. We nearly came to our stops, but we didn't get stopped. And that's the important thing. You can see this is why we always measure our stops efficiently. We always want to make sure that we're past the last low. If this low breaks, then, the trade's invalid. What we could potentially see on here, I don't usually mark the 38 fib, so let's get rid of that. What we could see on here is, we've got this equal high formed here. This equal high formed here. Whenever there's an equal high, we can expect a retracement. What I'd like to see then is a little head and shoulders formation, inverse head and shoulders formation, sorry, that could potentially happen. And then we could get our rejection from this level again and onwards. CAD's looking weak. I don't have much hope for CAD. Again, we know funds are kind of covering their net shorts a little bit on it. If you look at the COT reports, which we'll look at the COT reports moving into this week's forecast. I'll do a little rundown of everything like that. But that would be cool. I'd like that to happen on UCAD. And then, we're holding this 40 pips in profit still. So let's see how that goes. Silver. Silver's pretty much just played it to the T. Pennant breakout. You can see, we are bullish here. We're forming this terminal pennant. We broke out of the pennant. We had a sell limit here. So as soon as we got the pullback in, our buy limit here. As soon as we got the breakout, our buy limits were triggered here. And then, straight to TP pretty much. Did kind of linger around a little bit, but not really. It just went straight to our targets. And obviously my targets, I have runners open. I think silver is extremely undervalued right now. It was highlighted to me again by my friend Martin. He did also say that. I was trying to sell it a couple of weeks ago, and this pennant here didn't work out. So now we've retested these highs here, which I've highlighted with this our zone, and we did actually pierce those highs. So you can see we've created a new high here. So continuation is very much possible. Should we again break out of this trend line structure here, then we could see, we can come up to 19.5 up easily. So right now, I'm quite open on that. I think I'm just going to leave a runner forever. May as well. We've got a fantastic entry here. I don't see a retest happening. If it does, we look to get back in. But I'm just going to leave that one running from my MT4 for as long as I can. But, cleared 100 pips on that. Happy on that again. It was clear. It was a very easy trade, very clear trade, very simple trade in terms it didn't give us any hassles or anything like that. So that's, I'm happy with that. Last trade of the week was CHFJPY. So I'm basically trading the double top formation here. I'm also the trend line hadn't even broken before I sent the trade. Just looking at it, I was like, this is a clear level here. We obviously had a double top on the hourly here as well. But pretty happy with that. I don't know if you can hear my dog in the background barking. Sorry about that if you can. She's being super annoying. But yeah, guys, I'm going to trade this down all the way to our sort of retest of our this bit here. So this would be our double top formation. Breakout. Nice big M forming. Nice big M. And we can really see it on the weekly, which is where I think it would be better to have a look at it. And that's also what I'm kind of seeing on the AUD weekly. Actually, no, we'll look at AUD weekly. But we look at this, we have our M formation here coming up, breaking down. Now, if it's going to be a proper double top, we expect it to break down here and retest here, and then, you know, make its way back down somewhere around here. Long term, sure, that would be the classical double top situation, but we can't predict that. So we're just going to trade it down to here, and then we will look to trade it again should that breakout happen with a retest of that bottom, let's call it a neckline, for our double top formation. We just want to look at AUD weekly quickly, and then we're going to give this video the end. So we're looking at AUD. You know, you got to look for things that could potentially look like M's and W's, right? Because keynote as well, you can see that weekly is closed beneath that trend line. You know, that looks good for me from a sort of market structure perspective. We've had our bullish inducement here. We've created a double top on the weekly, and now we see some downside targets to be kept here, and then extensions of targets again. So this lines up with our trade, like I said. So you can see here again, it's not always going to be clear cut drawing like a sketch of an M or a W or anything like that. You know, you have to be a little bit subjective and kind of draw your perception on it, because that's kind of what makes or breaks it at the end of the day. You know, you just got to stand to your analysis, guys. You know, 2 weeks ago it was tough. I had an absolute shit time trading. Didn't enjoy it whatsoever. Everything sucked. Everything was ranging. Nothing was happening. And you know, those type of days kind of really kill your confidence. You know, and what happens then is you basically get almost scared to trade because you don't want to lose, right? But you have to understand that the mental aspect of that, and it's crucial, because that's why most people quit. You know, and if you quit, then how the hell are you going to get better? Or how the hell are you're going to miss weeks like this when you steamroll the market? You have to be willing to just get beaten down a little bit to come back stronger. And you know, that's a key principle with trading. And if I was to give up every time I had a shit week, I would have been done ages ago, guys. And you know, now here I am. So it's possible, guys. You've just got to be stubborn, as excuse my French. You just got to be really fucking stubborn, and you've just got to push through it and just accept that the market will beat you. The market it's designed to beat you, but you can beat it. You can come out on top. You've just got to be consistent, and you've got to push yourself to deal with the shit, basically. But yeah, listen, guys, that's really it. I'm looking forward to doing the overview for next week. I think there's some good trades shaping up. I've got a few exciting bits and pieces I've been working on in the background, kind of looking to step this whole experience up for everybody. So new platforms to basically host things, and how I want to be able to put everything that I use in my trading in my trading life, from my apps, from what I use from my news feeds, my Twitter feed. I want to try and just put it all into one terminal and allow you guys to have access to what essentially a professional trader would be looking at when they're in the office. You know, keep everything in one space, so it cuts work time. It's more efficient. If you guys need to see live feeds, if you guys want to watch Bloomberg, if you guys want to watch, you know, anything and everything that you need as a trader, I'm looking to put that in a platform and get it out to you guys. So yeah, guys, keep tuned. Hopefully you enjoyed this little recap. There's a lot more to come from us, and thank you all for the support so far. And I'm happy that for a lot of people that messaged me for this week, saying thank you for all the sort of money that they made and what they're learning. You know, that's why I'm doing this right now. I just want to empower you guys to be able to make a change. But yeah, guys, take it easy. I hope you have a great weekend, and don't forget to tune in for the overview coming out tomorrow evening. Peace.